Hey harmonizers, welcome to this video with Cadbury. I'm going to show you guys working with a flag, and this is a pretty big thing because it involves a little bit of being unsure, like he is right there where he got spooked by a combination of the rope being on the ground as well as the flag. And I'll show you a little bit of the transformation as he starts to get more confident and a little bit of the process with that. Cadbury is a Mustang that is learning to become a domestic Mustang after being wild for the first part of his life and then going to the holding facilities, and now learning that domestic life can actually be pretty good because we feed you every day, you get your hooves trimmed, you get taken care of for your health, you don't have to worry about where your next meal or your next drink is going to come from. So it's all a process. And why am I working with this flag? Well, working with a flag symbolizes more than just a flag. It's about exposing him to things in our environment, exposing him to things that are around that he might see that are different, and learning that he can trust me, that our world is not going to hurt him. Because keep in mind that when he was a wild Mustang, it was very much a natural environment. There were no barns, there were no farrier tools, no vet equipment, no gates to walk through, things like that. It was just a natural environment. So he's got to learn to get used to things that are in our human world, the domestic environment, and getting him used to things like this, where he's learning to touch and then I'm giving him a treat afterwards, and slowly building up his curiosity and realizing things aren't going to hurt. That's going to let me progress to things like being able to put a blanket on him, or letting me be able to work with him, whatever it is that he needs for him. So sometimes we do massages, or we have different tools like the Beamer blanket that we put on them. And I want him to be comfortable receiving treatment or care, as well as just becoming a domestic horse, because the safer he can be and the more accepting he can be of this domestic world, then he's going to have the better chance of having a really good long life, because we'll be able to care for him. So here what I'm doing with using that flag, you can see I started really slow and I'm using positive reinforcement. And he actually came forward there to get the cookie on his own. And I love using positive reinforcement because it helps the horse lick and chew. It helps them to stay in a thinking frame of mind. And then they can stop seeing the thing as like, oh goodness, like Lindsay's doing all these awful things to me. And instead of, I wonder if I'll get a cookie for doing that. And in, the time, you're going to see some moments where he gets nervous. Like there he was taking some steps away and he's kind of going, oh, I don't know, this is really hard. And you can see him going really slowly, trying to be patient with him, and then offering him some more cookies. And it's important to know too that when you're using positive reinforcement, cookies or food can't overcome fear. So you have to be very careful not to overwhelm them or get too much into that fight or flight zone, because if they go into panic mode, then it doesn't matter how much food you have, their brain's going to be stuck in panic mode, and then you have to work to get that back. So the goal is kind of to challenge them a little bit and then take it away, let them lick and chew. You can see how he really dropped his head down. He's thinking about it. He's realizing, okay, like I'm thinking about it, it's not so bad. So I do a little bit, take it away, reward him, take it away, and not constantly building up and doing more. And the best way to kind of describe this, I find, I always relate horses back to humans. Even though we're a different species, we still feel a lot of the same feels. We can feel scared, have worry, feel joy, pain, all of those things. And so we can relate to those feelings. So I want you to just imagine for a second you being terrified of something. Think about what that is. For me, it's a room full of spiders, because spiders creep me out, even though most of them are harmless. I just find them super creepy. And for whatever it is for you, I want you to imagine whatever that scary thing is, and imagine your teacher or your parent, whoever it is, somebody who's guiding you and trying to build your trust, is pushing you towards doing the thing that you are scared of doing. So in my case with the room full of spiders, if I'm being pushed to the room full of spiders and, given, a chocolate bar along the way, but I'm still being pushed or shoved into the room more, into a smaller room, and the door is getting shut and all of these things, I'm probably going to explode. It'll be too much and freak out and probably hurt a bunch of spiders in the process, because I would just be so panicked. and freak out and try to blast out of there and run away, because it would just be more and more and more and more and more and be too much. And so it's super important to recognize what I'm doing here with Cadbury is I put the flag over his back, and then I let him have a moment to have it be away, and he gets to think about that. He gets to move a little bit. He's going to sniff my coat there, and that's okay. He gets to have moments where he thinks. Now we're walking with the flag, and the flag is moving. So I do a little bit of touching, moving, whatever it is I'm doing, and then I take it away, and he gets that reward. So that way it's not just me doing more, and he'll reach a breaking point where he snaps, but here, like, I put it over him, I let it kind of hang out for a second, and then it drops to the ground, and he doesn't spook or run away, so he gets a cookie. Look at that. He's even getting curious, and he's like, oh, okay, I can sniff this thing because maybe it's not so bad. And if he wants to sniff it, I allow him to sniff and explore and be curious, as long as he's not doing anything dangerous, like he doesn't start to paw at it, which might get it trapped around his foot or something like that. And then you can see I put it over him again. I try the other side. I'm going to give him a cookie, and then he gets some time to think about what just happened and that it's okay. With horses and with humans, we have different personalities. Not everybody is the same. Not everybody needs the same amount of processing time or thinking time. So for the horse, I really try to pick up on their body language of how much time do you need to think about this, and little things I'm looking for. Like, see how he lowers his head and he's licking and chewing. He's thinking about what's going on. So this is him kind of showing me that he's actively engaged. He's thinking about this, so I give him some time to do that. But I can also tell that he's in a thinking frame of mind, so it's okay to try a little bit more or a little bit different. So that time I went more over his back versus over his neck, so I explored a different part on his body. He didn't get upset or run away, so I give him the cookie. Now I'm trying something different. I'm going up over his head, so it's big and up, and you can see that time I was kind of straight up with the flag, not necessarily over his body, so it was flying up high, but not necessarily right over. This time I go more over his head, so you can see it's reaching out over his body, and then I offer that cookie. So I'm not trying to blow him up. I did a little bit, and then I stop, reward, give him time to think. Whether I actually give the cookie or not, I don't have to give one, but it definitely has been shown in research that it speeds the training. And I really like it because you also get that extra feedback that he's actually eating the cookie, so he must be relaxed. So there's a whole bunch of things going on in this session. It's not just a flag, but it's building trust. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and check out harmonyhorsemanship.com for even more learning.